back. This is the first part of our new FL Studio unit on Rogue's Instruction Online Music Education. To start, you must have access to FL Studio and the intro to drumbeats.flp file. I will demonstrate how to use patterns and the channel rack step sequencer to make 4 different beats or drum patterns using this amazing and powerful digital audio workstation. So let's get started by opening up the file that was available for you. So let's go to File, Open, and we're looking at Intro to Drum Beats, and open that one up. All right, let's see what we have here. So we have this here is our channel rack. Here is, it's one of the easiest ways to make a beat, a drum pattern in FL Studio. We have underneath it our arrangement window. And here you can see I have 4 different patterns laid out so that if we were to play it, it would play this pattern, then this pattern, then this pattern, and then this pattern. And those individual patterns, those drum beats, are over here, and here is where we can make some changes to them. So we are going to make 4 different patterns, and the first one we will call a basic pattern. So on the left side of this arrangement window, we're going to click on pattern 1 and then right click and choose rename and color. And we're going to call this basic. And then we're going to use this pentagon shape over here to select a color. I'll make it purple. And then you can always make it lighter or darker using this fader on the right. So once you have the color selected, hit enter and then enter again. And we have our basic pattern colored, and the pattern as it sits over here on the arrangement is colored too. We're going to do the same thing for the next one. Right click, rename and color, and we'll call this rock. Use the pentagon shape here, and I'll make it blue. Enter, enter. Next one, we will call this one reggaeton. And give it a color, enter, enter. And the bottom one we will call samba. And give it a color. So we have our 4 patterns now labeled, they are color coded, and we can get into starting to create the sounds of our patterns. Okay, before we actually create them, let's go look at our downloads that we have here. So intro to drum beats. So here was our FL Studio file we downloaded, and here are our 4 patterns: basic, rock, reggaeton, and samba. So let's take a look at what this basic drum pattern image file is. Okay, so we have our kick, hi-hat, snare, and hi-hat foot. All of these are highlighted. They are showing that there's a sound on this in this sequence, and it's called a sequencer. And there's nothing happening here on the hi-hat foot for this pattern. We have 808 kick. That's a kick drum or your bass drum. It's happening on the first of the 4 in the first beat, and the first beat is gray. The second beat is pink, and there's nothing happening there. Then the kick again happens in the first of the 4 of the third beat, and nothing on the 4th beat. So let's get started with that on the kick. So first gray here, first gray here, so that's beat 1 and beat 3. Let's go back to FL Studio. All right, so in order to actually change the pattern, we're going to click on our basic pattern up here, and then up here next to our plus button, we have all these icons going across here. The third one is our channel rack. So we'll click on this one, and that opens our channel rack back up. So we can see again, our first beat is everything in gray. Second beat is in pink. Gray is beat 3. Beat 4 is in pink. And we had it set so that the first beat here and the first beat here were our drum beats. for our kick drum. If you make a mistake, you can right click and that will delete them. If, let's say, you make a bunch of mistakes and you want to delete them all, just hold down your right click and swipe across. Similarly, if you want to add a bunch of them in, click and swipe across, we'll add them all in. But we will stick with just the first 2 beats there. I'm going to hit spacebar to listen to this pattern so far. All right, next let's go to the hi-hat. So let's review our image. There we go. We have our 808 hi-hat, and you can see it's every other one going across beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. One on, one off. So we can do that. And that would be accurate. But since this pattern is legitimately just every other one, here I'm going to right click and undo all those. I'm going to right click on the 808 hi-hat and choose fill each 2 steps. And it'll do it for me in 1 click instead of having to do 8 separate clicks. Now let's look at the snare. The snare is similar to the 808 kick, but instead of it being on beats 1 and 3, it is the first one of the 4 in beat 2 and beat 4, the pink ones. So we'll do that, snare, and over here beat 4, and let's see what we got. Very, very basic drum beat, and that's why we call it basic. Once we have all those done, we can X this file out, or X the channel rack out, and we're back on our arrangement screen. Let's go to rock, let's click on that. So now that's highlighted in green and we have an arrow, and then we'll go to the channel rack up here, and let's see what we have for our rock pattern. Here is our image. Let's double click that. And there we go. Kick, it's a little bit more complicated. We have 4 and starts the first one of beat 1, the third note in beat 2, the first one in beat 3, and the third one in beat 4. So first, third, first, and third. Or if you read this in rhythms, if you 1, 2, 2 and 3, 4 and. Let's add it in. So 1, the third one, 3, and the third one. Let's look at the hi-hat. Real easy. It's every single one. So let's just do it where we click and hold it and swipe across. And the snare, it's the same thing, beats 2 and 4. The first one of the 2 pink ones. So beat 2 and beat 4. And now our rock pattern is done. Let's close the channel rack and on to reggaeton. Select reggaeton and the channel rack, and let's take a look at what we have here. Double click. Okay, so we have all the downbeats. So the first of pink, gray, the gray, pink. And then we have same rhythm in hi-hat and snare. We skip 3, we have 1, skip 2, skip how we have 1, skip 4, 1, skip 2, 1. So complicated, but we're going to say the 4th, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 3rd. So let's start with a kick. It's all the downbeats. So first. Then let's check that pattern again. We had the fourth, the third, the fourth, and the third. The fourth, third, fourth, and third. And then it was the same rhythm for the snare. Okay. Definitely has that reggaeton type feel to it. And let's close our channel rack and move on to samba. This is a more complicated pattern. We have all 4 instruments, including the hi-hat foot now. So let's start at the bottom with a hi-hat foot and work our way up. So hi-hat foot is the third, 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 and third. We call those the up beats. So let's go into here. The third one, third one, third one, third one. And now let's look at the snare. So similar, same thing we've been doing before. So beat 2 and beat 4, the first one of the pinks. Let's see what that sounds like so far. Okay, let's look at, let's skip the hi-hat, we'll do that last, and go to the kick. So let's see what the pattern is here. So first, fourth, first, fourth, first, fourth, first, four. So 1 in 4 of every one of the beats. So the first and fourth, the first and fourth, straight across. All right, and the hi-hat. Now this is a complicated one. It's hard to just read a pattern, so we'll just do it bit by bit. So the first beat, we have the first, third, and fourth. So 1 and a. Now we have the second and fourth. So E, a. Now we have same thing, E, a, the third and the fourth. And the last one, we have first and third. So 1 and. Okay, there we go. That's our basic samba pattern. So let's close the channel rack. We have all of our patterns done, and we can see now on our arrangement window, we have these little dots showing that each one of these patterns actually has something in it. But if we hit play right now, it's still set to up here, this PAT highlighted orange. So it's just going to play a pattern. Whatever pattern we have selected over here is what it will play. So now it's playing samba. Here now it's going to the reggaeton, rock, and basic. If we wanted to play it in sequence like it is here on the arrangement window, we have to change it to song. Now it'll play basic, and once it's done that, it'll move on to rock, and then it'll move on to reggaeton, and then samba. So this isn't really how a real song would sound with these 4 different rock styles or 4 different drum styles happening one after the other, but it gets the point across. So let's hear what it sounds like. Okay, and then it repeats back to the beginning. If we wanted to do this again, have them play in a pattern, we can do that using this paintbrush tool that we have as our cursor right now. So I have basic, rock, reggaeton, and samba, and they're all on their own tracks, which we can adjust the volume of and do things like that. So let's just do the same thing starting at bar 5. So I'm going to click on basic, and then I'm going to take the paintbrush to the right at the very beginning of bar 5 and regular click, and it draws me another basic. Go to rock, go to track 2 at bar 6, reggaeton at 7, and samba at 8. If you make a mistake, or let's say you want to do it in a different pattern. So let's say I want to do, instead of basic rock, reggaeton, samba, basic rocks, reggaeton, samba, I want to do it reverse. So basic rock, reggaeton, samba, samba, reggaeton, rock, and basic. So I could just move them over like this. But then I made a mistake here. So I could either undo it by Control Z, or I can use right click and delete it, and just delete all these here, and then go in and redo these here. Let me stretch this back out. No, not like that. There we go. Now it's a full bar, rock, and basic. And let's see what it sounds like now. All right, and that is this assignment. So let's go up and save it, file, save as, and add our name to the end of it. And then instead of sending that, we will export it like we did in Audacity. We'll choose WAV file and save. And then we'll get into all this stuff here at some later point, but let's go down to start. And we'll just start the file, and let's go to let's upload our file and submit it for your assignment. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys later. Thank you very much.